begin with our today's agenda. So it's just a small session of an hour. So we may not be able to cover everything in detail, but yes, definitely a cursory look to the concept of competency mapping. So we are going to understand what exactly is competency mapping. We will understand the importance or the benefits. Why do we really need to have? Where does it really help in the organization? Difference between a skill matrix and a competency matrix. This is usually how people in the organization, either they work on a skill model or a competency model. And definitely a quick view into the steps for creating a competency model. Great. So before I get into the main definition of competency, let us understand what is skill. So sometimes we feel that, and we kind of interchange these words and we say, oh, this guy has great skill and he has great competence. So this guy, say for example, is great. He's a skillful, say a production engineer, and he is also a competent production engineer. So we kind of very loosely and interchange, these two terms, skill and competence. But let us understand the difference between these two terms and then move on to what exactly is competency mapping. So when we talk about skill, we only say that skill is the ability of a person to do a job efficiently and effectively, right? So, for example, you have the data analysis, you have troubleshooting equipment. Some people are absolutely brilliant and genius at troubleshooting. I'm sure many of you probably would be there. Somebody is into designing. We say, oh, wow, this guy has got great designing skills. Some people are great at collaboration, communication. Some people, write so well. So these are all skills. Skills are something that they are trainable, and they are learnable, and they can be developed, they can be honed. So wherever you are there in your skills, so even basic skills, like even if you get off from work, basic thing, skills like cooking, gardening, singing, dancing, those kind of basic skills also. So all these skills that we possess as a person, as an individual, they're all trainable, and we can move from one level to the other, right, in skills. And let us also understand what is competency. So any one of you who can share the meaning of competency. Of course, what is written on the slide is different, but
competency
is
a combination of skill, knowledge, and experience.
Yes.
I would say competence is a superset of skill.
Yes, very well put, very well put. What's your name, sorry?
My name is Maisaya Bandi. You can call me Bandi.
Okay, Bandi. So this is very well put. The competency is a super skill. Yes, very well put. Thank you, Bandi. So, as per the definition of Professor Boytis, competency is an underlying characteristic of an employee. That is the motive, trait, skill. It includes skill, aspects of one's self-image, social role, or a body of knowledge, which results in effective or superior performance, right? So like how Bandi shared it so well, that competency includes skills. Skills is just one way of doing a thing. Competency goes beyond the skill set, right? So it talks about motive, it talks about trait, it talks about the inner directed aspects of an individual's personality. So like if we look at this picture on the screen, this is a picture of an iceberg, right? And whenever we see an iceberg, we can, even in the entire sea, we can only see a tip of the iceberg that is visible to us, right? most part of the iceberg, the bulk of it is submerged in the sea or the ocean, right? So when we look at the behavior of a person, which is also known as the observable behavior of a person, so we see that what we can see, so when we interact with our colleagues and other people in the organizations or someone in our team, what we can really see as the tip of the iceberg, what is really visible, lucidly and in a day-to-day interaction, is the skill of the other person, how skilled he is at his work, right? And how knowledgeable he is, how much he is able to quote, how many, what data, facts, what all is available with him, how much, he is able to learn up or probably, speak up so well. So one is enamored by that. So this is something that is easily visible in an individual, the amount of skill and the amount of knowledge that the guy possesses, right? But when we go to the depths, to the actual iceberg, which is submerged within the sea, right? That is something that is not easily visible to the other person. But at the same time, it's a part of an individual, right? Like the entire iceberg, tip of it is visible, but lot of it is there in the water, but both together make up the iceberg. So similarly, it's the tip of our skill and knowledge that is visible, and what is deep hidden inside us, or something that is not easily visible to the other person, are our attitudes, our values, our traits, our motives, that also drives us to work. So for example, our attitude could be, a positive attitude. We could be a pessimist by nature. We could be an optimist by nature. We could be a go-getter. Whatever kind of a attitude we have, we may have a never give up attitude, or we may have a very casual kind of attitude towards work or towards life. So that also determines how we actually do a particular job, right? Value system, what kind of value system bind us, to our job? Is it seniority? Is it, the value of, say, money? What is it that is really binding us? And what kind of values we possess as a human being also is equally a part of our job. Whether it is visible, it is not visible, but it actually determines our job, right? And traits. So the traits that we possess as a human being, as an individual. So whether we succumb under pressure, or we actually are able to bring out our best under pressure. Some people just go beyond the call of duty, and they're able to kind of over contribute to their particular role. So that's the trait they carry as an individual, as a person. This is how their personality is. And motives, so what really drives you towards your work? What is that one thing, like, and so everyone, each one of us in this room right now is working, right, somewhere or the other. But we may not be even thinking about it on a daily basis. We may not be even probably talking to people about our motives, but motive is the central point of why we are where we are, and what we are doing, why we are doing it actually. So motive is, we are wherever we are, so we probably could be at a particular location or a particular job, role, responsibility. What is the motive behind that? Am I here to earn big dollars? Am I here for career growth? Am I here for learning? Am I here for pushing up? Am I here for power? Am I here for knowledge? So what is it? Or am I here because it is, I am at that phase of my life where I need stability, and therefore this work is giving me and providing me that kind of stability in terms of money, and probably it's closer to my house, and location wise, or maybe really probably this job is giving you this great opportunity to travel the world, and so this is your motive right now, to see the world, and therefore you are sticking onto your job. So what is that motive that drives you to work and that actually takes you towards your goal, right? So for example, say some people who have these motives of excellence. Say for example, everyone isn't, but some people who are, they will always kind of uh, create those goals for themselves, which are challenging, where they can grow, where they can really learn. The learning curve is high. And some people may not have that motive, so they are like 9 baje aaye, 5 baje nikal gaye, and tata bye bye, kar liya kaam, and we are done with it, right? So we tend to see this kind of motive probably, with some people, and with the other people, they are probably more motivated, right? So these are all inside us, our attitude, our values, our trait, and our motive. They may not be so visible outside, but they are the greater part of who we are as a person, and we, though we tend to kind of divide our personal life and our work life probably into two different compartments. We compartmentalize our, and we say work life balance, but the person who is at home and the person who's at work is the same person, right? So we may not have probably, comparable skills or comparable knowledge to the other person, but whosoever we are as a person within ourselves, like the kind of attitude that we have, the values that we possess, the trait personality that we have, the motives that drive us to work or in life, they kind of tend to remain same everywhere we are, whether we are at work, whether we are home, whether we are with friends, whether we are in a social gathering, or we are self-talking. It's the same thing, right? And that constitutes the bigger part of us as an individual. So though we may compartmentalize our work and our personal life, but we cannot compartmentalize we as an individual, right? We are same. We may show ourselves to be different people, but what drives us, it remains the same wherever we are. So this concept, of knowing the tip work of the iceberg is known in HR terms as the observable behavior. What can be observed. So do you kind of agree with this kind of a concept?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
During
So
day-to-day discussion, probably you will be able to see the skills, but
yes,
the knowledge level a person have. But
yes,
sometimes we miss to note the attitude, the
yes,
values, the traits a
yes.
person may be having.
Yes, yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely. So, and then Bandi, they actually are the most important, part of a human being. Do you agree to this one as well?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. So when we understand and we agree to the fact that both all of these together form our behavior, our skill, our knowledge, our attitude, values, trait, motive, maybe we can add more terms to it. Everything as a combination is a part of our behavior or something that determines our behavior, right? So let's say, for example, if for example we okay, let's take this example that there are these two people, person A and person B, okay, and they have, say for example, since most of us are probably in HR over here, so let me take an HR example, that for example they are, both of them are HR managers, right? And in terms of skill and knowledge, probably both of them are qualified. Maybe they've done their MBA in HR, maybe in the same, let's make it as similar to that and as actual as that probably they have passed out in the same year. So they have an equal amount of experience and they have equal amount of knowledge. Probably both of them have just been promoted because of their knowledge, right? And the skill set that they have. Maybe they are amazing at communication or recruiting people or even retaining people, right, in the organization. They do a fabulous job, right? And both of them are probably promoted, and both of them are a 10 on 10, right? In terms of skill and in terms of knowledge, they are absolutely the same with same set of experience, right? And now say for example, both of them have this. Let's take a situation that they have this kind of, they need to hire people, okay, within a particular budget. And both of these guys, person A and person B, have been given this kind of a responsibility in their respective departments to hire people within the budget. And probably there is a cost cutting involved, and they need to kind of go lean on that. And let's take that person A is a pessimist and person B is an optimist. Do you think both the people possessing the same skill and same knowledge will provide the same results?
May not be based on the situation or the given atmosphere. Both of them may react or respond differently. That makes the different result.
Yes, yes. So if for example, someone is, say person A is a pessimist, how is that person probably going to react or respond? When he's unable to, kind of hire the right people, and because of the cost cutting involved, he is unable to fulfill his target or his KRA. He is unable to hire the people. So how is his performance going to be?
Yeah, he may not cope up, and given results may not be achieved by that particular personality person.
Right. And person B, who is, of course, optimistic. So probably that person is optimistic. So that person will also probably have a positive attitude. He may not give up. He may kind of, try out other things. His mind will not get messed up. He will not kind of feel, dejected. He may work better. He may kind of try to reach out to more people and, try to be more resourceful to get the job done. And in spite of that, if he's not doing it, he may try to, just feel that, all right, if this time I'm not able to give my best, maybe next time, right? And so these things are, we all understand all these things in theory. But when it comes to practical, when it comes to a day-to-day working, then what comes across in the difference in the in our behavior or in our production or in our result or in our output is not really determined only and only by our skill and knowledge, but really by our attitude and our values and our trait and the hidden part of the iceberg, right? So when we are focusing and when we understand that everything is a combination, it's important for a person to get onto the learning curve or probably rise up into his organization or do well in his career. Then these organizations that are only focusing completely onto skill, and when we go into organizations, they develop these kind of skill matrix, probably few of your organizations also may have had it, or maybe as HR people, you probably would have developed this key. ऐसा बंदा लेके आना है, इसको ये चाहिए, like for example, you are it's especially the technical skills, which are required maybe in the plant or maybe as a software engineer. So the focus on hiring the people is on their skill and is on their knowledge. The focus on retaining the people, अरे ये बंदा तो बड़ा performer है यार, ये 10 on 10 है, इसको तो मतलब तो हमें retain करना ही करना है. Skill and knowledge again. And then again, the people that we are going to promote are also based on their skill and knowledge, So because that is what is visible, so this is how, but when we talk about competency, we talk about the entire combination of everything. So rather than mapping only skills to a particular role, we define and we create a competency model. And from there, we start, working on developing people and looking at your organization or looking at your particular department to bring about that kind of a, that change in the person's role, right? So in a very basic way, the difference between skill metrics and a competency metrics is something like skill is a specific learned, it's an activity a person does to perform a specific task. And it includes technical skills, knowledge and abilities, hard skills, as well as personality traits, the soft skills, right? Example, the computer programming, welding, Microsoft Excel, whatever other technical skills. And then when we look at the competency, we see that it's the knowledge and behaviors that help you get the desired result in a job, right? Apart from skills that you possess. Then a broader concept representing a holistic approach to evaluating a person's abilities and not only looking at what that person is able to show us, but really looking through that person, right? Or helping that person to reach that level, right? So for example, when we talk about competencies, we can taking initiative, problem solving, strategic planning, conflict management, those kind of attitudinal skills, if we would like to say, or how Bandi had put it, I like the word super skill. It's a super skill. So something that is attitudinal, something probably that comes from within, right? And not like the skills which can be learned and done with, right? So, so let's discuss the KRAs and competencies for the role of a human resource manager. So let's look at, like, for example, we are looking at a role of a human resource manager in any organization across the industry. And so what are the kind of KRAs that you people have set up for a human resource manager? Anything you guys want to share?
Maybe the KRA for a HR person is maybe attrition rate, attrition, control of attrition, or otherwise attrition that can be one.
Yes.
What I look at, this first one is maybe recruiting TAT, recruitment.
Yes.
Maybe compliance related, HR
Yes.
compliance related metric. Some training related metrics like, plan versus actual.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So KRAs, of course, can be kind of broadly, narrowed down to some percentage. If, for example, attrition must say come back, say should come down by 10% in this particular financial year, or say, for example, training, you must be able to provide at least that 8 hours.
Mandates target, ma'am. Training mandates for white collar and blue collar both.
Yes, absolutely, Tanushri. So training for both white collar and blue collar, whosoever is working in the plant.
Employee engagement activities also, ma'am.
Yes.
The plan versus actual status.
Yes, absolutely. So if you make the KRA specific, so it's like, for example, 8 hours of training provided to both the white collar and the blue collar. So et cetera. This is how we can define our KRAs, right? Now let us define these are the KRAs, what the HR person has to achieve throughout the year. Now, what are the competency level which are required to achieve this KRA?
First, maybe a basic, the qualification is one.
No,
I would
competencies.
Say competencies, okay. Competencies.
Ma'am, actually, the competency matrix, which are in our practice right now, there are total 3 levels.
Okay.
First is the basic level, second one is the practitioner level, and third one is the expert level.
Okay.
So there are total 3 levels in our competency matrix.
Great. So you're already practicing it in your organization.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Fantastic.
but I heard that there are total 5 five levels in competency matrix which are used in standard companies or organizations, but we are right now only we have three levels of competencies right now which are in our practice.
Right. So Tanushree, so actually it is, it's not a blanket rule to have 5 or 4 or 3. It
Okay,
really
ma'am.
depends from organization to organization, howsoever you would like to place it. So some organizations even have 6 levels. So
Okay.
it's as much as you want to define and as much clarity you want to, create as many levels as you would like to create.
Okay, right, ma'am.
So it's really up to the particular organization. So yeah, so Tanushree, maybe you can, since you're already practicing the competency mapping in your organization, maybe you can define the competency for a HR manager over here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We have all the department-wise competency mapping and for all levels of white collar staffs. And we have two type of competencies basically, behavioral and behavioral and technical both.
Yes. Yes. So would you like to define something for the role of HR manager? What kind of competency can we look for if you want to hire a HR manager?
Ma'am, statutory and legal compliance. First is
Okay.
legal compliance and statutory. If we are hiring a manager, then he should be in the expert level in
Okay.
this point.
Okay.
And second thing is a negotiation skill at the time of interviewing or any kind of negotiation with union members or any other suppliers or any other person. So
Yes.
negotiation skill minimum practitioner level, I
Yes.
think he should achieved.
Yes.
And third one is data management and data analysis. Data analysis, because that is very important in case of absenteeism or in case of attrition data maintaining or in case of all the data 5 score, safety trend, accident trend. So data analysis is a very important part. I think he should minimum at practitioner level in that. And last is I think there are many competencies basically, but one is the software part which we are using. We are using SAP. So all the payroll part and all the data are which we are used in the software that is in SAP. So he should have minimum I think practitioner level in using SAP.
Okay. Fantastic. You were not only able to define the competences, but you were also able to define the level of it. So this is exactly how we need to kind of practice it. Thank you, Tanushree. So I think Tanushree, what she really shared about the competencies required for the role of a human resource manager, this is probably in a plant, mostly, someone who's looking at the legal compliance and all. So if you look at it in general, let's look at some kind of competencies that we can define for a HR manager. Something like the KRAs that we talked about, bringing down the attrition, providing quality in training, human resource, learning and development, right? So something like competencies, what this guy should possess in order to achieve these kind of KRAs, apart from the skills, apart from the technical qualification that he already has. What is it that he should possess as a person, as an individual in that particular role, so that he is able to achieve those KRAs for the year, right? So things like connecting with people, right? As HR people, you are the connectors. HR people are always the connectors, because we connect from each department. All departments can be in silo, but HR is one department which stays, and it just mandatorily has to be connected with every other department in the organization, right? So developing others, so we must have this skill as a HR person to really develop others, and strategic thinking. So how can you get into those kind of shoes of strategic thinking, customer focus, result oriented. So these are just few of them, suggested one. Again, it depends on your organization and your role that you're looking for, that where we have, and like how Tanushri said, that when we kind of also decide on the proficiency level, then we can also kind of determine that at what level are we looking at, right? So, so very simply put, KRAs is something what needs to be done. And
Madam, I have one doubt here.
Yes, ma'am.
How to any guidelines to based on the maybe the resulting areas, or the based on the position, any guidelines how to identify these behavioral competencies and how to rate them? Let's say all these are soft skills, I would say, connecting with the people. So
Yes.
how do you rate them, like level 1, level 2, level 3?
Yeah, so we'll just get on to that after this.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just give a cursory look to that as well. So KRA is something that when we say what needs to be done, and competency is how it needs to be done, right? So whenever we have to, talk about a competency, we have to ask what. So ask is an abbreviation. It's the attitude, skill, and knowledge. So everything put together creates a competency, right?
Hello,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, Rinki.
Ma'am, can you give me one question? Ask you.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, how can I improve in HR department and my behavior, attitude, and other skill?
Oh, Rinki, can we, if you don't mind, can we keep it at the end of the session, the question for you?
My question is, how can I improve in behavior?
I
and
got your question.
attitude?
Yeah, Rinki, I got your question. So can I just finish with this presentation and then I can take that question? Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So let's just, I think a few of you were asking, let's just understand how do we really create, and maybe Tanushri will also be able to add in points over here, that how do we really create a competency model in the organization. So first of all, we identify the department or a particular role. Like say, for example, we pick up HR department, or we pick up sales or marketing or production or whichever department, relevant finance, whichever department, and then also we pick up the role. So for example, just to keep it, similar to what we just did, say, for example, we identify department as the HR department, and we take the role as a HR manager, right? Then the second step is we understand the job details, or we take the job analysis. What exactly is this person required to do at his job, right? So the KRAs, and what exactly are the nitty-gritties of this KRAs, and what is the job analysis of that particular person, of that particular role, right? Then based on the job analysis, once you get, okay, this guy needs to work on the say recruitment or training and development, or maybe a combination of everything, and payroll and everything. So based on the job analysis, you prepare a list of competencies, right? So you look at the role, like how Tanushri was asking, that was just sharing that if we want to hire a HR manager, that person must be at the the whatever levels she was talking about, maybe at the higher and expert level, and someone at the executive must be at the practitioner levels. So what are the kind of competencies that we can identify with that kind of a particular role, for a HR person, like we just talked about few. Once we prepare the list of competency, then we create a proficiency level for each competency. That is the ranking. That is the rubric we create, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3. So we define that competency. Say, for example, that competency is, say, for example, it is communication skill, for example, right? So we create a proficiency level. So level 1 means, first of all, you're going to define what is communication skills. Second is you're going to create levels. So you could create 3 levels, you could create 4, 5, whatever, depending on your organization, your role, and how many people are there in the organization. And then once you create that levels or a rubric, you define what does communication mean at level 1, at level 2, at level 3, at level 4, and so on, right? Once this entire thing is mapped, I will show you how it is done in the next slide. Once this entire model is created, then you rate the individual against each competency. So this will happen, this will look something like this. Yes. So here we have, say, this is example from the National HRD network. So this is, this is like they have created 4 levels: basic, competent, advanced, and expert. So this is a very generic thing, very suggested words. One can kind of choose their own language and words and sequence, right? So for example, say, for example, you take conflict resolution, conflict solving, problem solving. So say, for example, the basic level could be that he may not have that experience of any conflict resolution. He needs guidance to practice that. And though he understands the concepts and principles and philosophy, he needs guidance to practice, and he is probably not experienced. This is completely at the basic level, right? And then we go on to the competent level, and he says that he is an independent contributor. He has applied or practiced at moderate levels, and though there is no large-scale experience in, working on this particular competency of conflict resolution, right? And then we go to the 3rd level and we say, oh, this guy has a teaching ability. He is able to guide others. He can become a coach on conflict resolution. He has actually put that into practice in his all years of experience and even in his current profile. And he has a large-scale experience, right? Then we go up to the final level, that is the expert level. We say that, okay, people look up to him for reference. He is able to not only implement it, but he's also able to contribute and generate new ideas, and he's an innovator, right? So this is just a suggested proficiency competency mapping, like how do we do it for a particular competency. So once we do that, once we are able to kind of define every competency and every level to it, then we rate everyone. So for example, this is, this is level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3, and this is level 4. Now, once we have a look at the entire person's job analysis, we have all the list of competencies defined. We also have the competency proficiency levels defined. Then we look at an individual, and then we see where exactly is this guy standing right now. Say, for example, you want to do a performance appraisal, right? And you are going to only probably promote someone who's at this level, not even at this level. You are looking at someone to promote at this level. So if this person is somewhere here or somewhere here, you will be very clear in knowing that, ye competent or advanced. Of course, you can play around with the words, you can use your own, these are all suggested words and terms. So something like someone like how Tanushri was saying, practitioner and expert and advanced, so you can have your own terminologies over here. So howsoever you are going to define, but the whole idea is that everything gets defined, everything becomes clear, everything gets onto paper, so that there is no misunderstanding or miscommunication of, because everything is based on data. So it becomes very clear. So HR department or any other department becomes absolutely transparent. There is no ambiguity in नहीं, मुझे क्यों नहीं promote किया, उसको क्यों कर दिया, मैंने भी तो ये किया, मैंने ये किया. People come for 1,000 grievance handling to the HR person. There is a rush, especially after the performance appraisal is over. HR is crowded, is surrounded with people. Mera kyun nahi hua, mujhe itna increment milna tha, mujhe ye nahi mila, mujhe wo nahi mila, mera promotion due tha, mujhe nahi mila. So we as HR people sometimes are actually are not able to answer them, because we are not the ones who have done it, right? Someone else, their bosses have probably promoted them, or maybe demoted them, or not given them a required increment. So we are not the doers, but then we need to explain, right? Because people come to us for grievance handling. So at that time, if there is some kind of a data in front of us, it is very easy to explain to the people, right? And we say it very confidently that, look, this is data based, and this is exactly how this thing happened. Once we are done with the competency model, this is something we can do for all the team members across the departments and across the team. So this is like, for example, a very competency team skill matrix, so a particular team has been mapped for their competency level. So say, for example, there were 8 competencies which were rated, and team member 1, and these are all the ratings everyone has got as per their competency. So you see that someone has even been evaluated as being on 0 level. This guy is on 0 level, and then 5, and some people have got 3, some people got 2. So again, different, otherwise it's very difficult to differentiate ki isne aise kiya. And then we have these things like the halo effect, we have these zone effects, which are so a halo effect is something like say, for example, a performance appraisal happens at the end of a financial year or the end of a annual year, right? So what happens is पूरे साल का हमें कितनी बारी याद नहीं रहता, कितना याद रखेंगे ना हम भी, because we just kind of build a image of the person in front of us, who is a team member, who may be a subordinate, who may be a boss, whosoever, right? We build an image. हम लगता है हाँ वो ये बंदा बड़ा sincere है, ये बंदा बड़ा अच्छा है, ये सारे काम time पे कर देता है. So there is a image we build up, right? पूरे साल में if that guy has defaulted or probably not been up to the mark many times, but towards the end of the year, December, say for example, January is an appraisal month, people are smart, huh? December, say, they'll start kind of coming up, and they will start becoming punctual and regular to work. I've seen this so many times in my years of experience, that people actually very close to the performance appraisal time suddenly are punctual, suddenly they'll stop taking leave, suddenly they'll report in time, and kind of provide everything that is required in time. So what happens is, when they start doing that, this creates a positive image on your boss, right? And this is known as a halo effect in HR terms, right? So this halo effect leads the boss to feel कि पूरे साल का वो भूल जाते हैं कि कैसा ये बंदा रेगुलर नहीं था, या पंक्चुअल नहीं था, या इसने काम पे टाइम पे नहीं दिया, लेकिन जो लास्ट 2 महीने में उस बंदे ने कर दिखाया, based on that, he suddenly gets a good performance rating, and this is actually what happens in many organizations. This happens. So this is known as the halo effect. So this is again where there is a lack of data, and you're not able to supplement what you are probably providing to that person in terms of increment or a promotion or not a promotion, whatever. It's not based on correct data. It is just based maybe on the halo effect. It is based on the friendship or the relationship you have with the other person. It is based on a gut feeling. It is based on probably, a yes manship, whatever, something else apart from data, right? So that sometimes creates ambiguity. It creates hurt in the employees, because there could be some people who would be consistently doing their job really well, and they deserve a promotion, but sometimes they just end up not getting a promotion. And then how do we, really understand as HR people that people never leave organizations. People always leave bosses, and why bosses become bad or they're termed as bad is because Many times, these kind of things happen. So so when we look at these benefits of competency mapping, maybe Tanushri can also chip in because she is practicing within her organization. So, like for hiring or selecting the right candidate for the right role. So when we have this thing mapped in front of us, so when we have the entire competency mapped to a particular role, it is right in front of us, the levels are there, and we know that we are looking at the right person, we will be able to, even during the interviews, check out the people onto that criteria and rate them as per the competency model or the proficiency level, and we'll be able to probably it may not be 100% thing still, since it's a human, errors are always possible, but definitely it will be much better from where we are right now, right? Because I have seen many times the hiring and selecting happens on gut feelings so many times, it happens, it just happens, been a part of it so many times कि कोई कुछ वो नहीं कहता हाँ ये ठीक कर लेगा, मुझे लगता है ये बंदा ठीक कर लेगा. Some people love the smile of the candidate, some people love the other person for the looks, or maybe some person, some candidate comes to you from a prestigious institute, maybe IIM, maybe IIT, or one of those top cream institutes of the country, or someone has come, studied abroad, and he has come to you and he makes this damn good impression on you. He has this great communication skill. He's like, wow, this guy is wow, this guy is wow, and we are going to hire this guy. So sometimes he may not be the best fit. He may be best qualified guy, but he may not be fitting into the culture of your organization. He may not be fitting into the role that you're looking for, right? So it happens so many times. So of course, it's going to be a better employee retention with better appraisals going on. And like we just discussed in detail, how the appraisal can be quantified and it can be based on data. Again, the training need identification that we do. So many times it happens, like I've experienced it in my previous organizations that, अरे 8 घंटे की ट्रेनिंग है, एक साल खत्म होने वाला है, 4 घंटे पड़े हुए हैं इसके, चलो ये बुलाओ, ट्रेनर को बुलाओ, कुछ कर लेते हैं, कुछ कम्युनिकेशन कुछ कर लेते हैं, खत्म करो, 4 घंटे का हमें अपना रिपोर्ट में डालना है, राइट? सो मेनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस डू अ टिक मार्क काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. उस बंदे को कम्युनिकेशन नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन 8 घंटे हमें पूरे करने हैं, बिकॉज दैट इज माई KRA एज अ HR पर्सन, है ना? तो हमें दिखाना है कि मैंने सबको एक टिक मार्क किया हुआ है, 8 घंटे की ट्रेनिंग की हुई है. So without knowing what exactly this guy needs to develop or to become better at his own, perform better or to better his role, without a training need identification, you are just pushing that person into any kind of random training where he's sleeping through the training and it's just a tick mark activity done, right? For the department, for the organization, and it's like, mera ho gaya KRA kind of thing. So when we have this kind of competency mapping done, we also will become very proficient in finding out that, okay, if this guy is, say, for example, at the basic level, and we are looking at him, say, at the next level, then this is the competency that we require. This is where he's been rated as 0 or as 1. So let's look at this kind of a training for this particular guy, so that will gel so well, it will be locked, and this guy is bound to perform much, much better than what he's doing right now, right? Then, of course, all this is going to lead to higher productivity and increased happiness quotient, employee customer satisfaction. So these benefits of competency mapping, these are not just a slide that I'm showing. These are all research-based data. In fact, the very famous international consulting firm known as the Mercers, they talk about the fact that it's 80% there is a benefit or a usability of competency mapping in hiring, in training, in developing, and in employee customer satisfaction. It's like 80% usability is there. This is a research data, across the world.
What is the name of that?
Mercer.
Can you spell?
MERCER. Mercer.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So it's an international organization. So this is, so maybe Tanushri, you want to add something, how your company you feel has benefited with this competency mapping?
Actually, at the time of hiring people, at the time of selection, we are also used the competency mapping. At the time of onboarding also, we are using this competency. At the time of, actually, we do the TNI and the competency after 1 month of joining.
Okay.
So that time also it is used. At the time of PMS, also it is used. And we are doing the PMS half yearly basis.
Okay.
So in a year, 2 times it is used.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So do you feel that it really kind of creates a lot of
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
transparency between the employees and departments, and especially for the HR people?
Yes, ma'am, obviously. And it is really very helpful if we conduct the need-based training for a particular person.
Yes.
If we do that.
Yes. Absolutely.
Madam, I've got one point.
Yes,
While this, helps no doubt, in assessing a candidate, but over a period of time, what I saw or observed is that it becomes normally a paperwork. So somebody is going to ask me in an audit, or somebody is going to be, review. So कभी कभी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि थोड़ा ये पेपर की मतलब हो जाता है एक लेवल के बाद. No doubt, for training identification, this will help competency mapping and assessment also it helps. But sometime I got a feel that 1 to 3 level करना यार करके रख लो. That's ऐसा हो जाता है कभी. So how to overcome such situations?
करके रख लो मतलब? What does that mean?
मतलब in the sense somebody is going to review, some audit is going to become. Okay. So it will become like a paperwork. Okay.
Yes.
So ऐसा मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया. जो रियल इंटेंशन से जो करना है एक लेवल के बाद, वो द वेरी पर्पस ऑफ मेकिंग अ कॉम्पिटेंसी मैपिंग, थोड़ा बहुत मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है. आई नोटिस दैट. सो हाउ टू ओवरकम सच सिचुएशंस?
Ma'am, I think I'm suggesting him if he recruits some specialized person for this competency or TNI training, TND purpose, and his or her main KRA is to do the all kind of job. I think if you depute someone in some other activities and in some other areas, then I think somehow the competency mapping or TNI is lacking. It is only he only that time doing the paperwork to meet his customer requirement or to meet the audit needs. So I think every organization have to depute a person specified who is competent in these areas, like in TNI, training, TND. His or her particular work is to find the gaps and to fulfill the gaps according to the needs, according to the gaps.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Deepak.
Yes, I'm Deepak Yadav. I want to also add something regarding this.
Yes.
Can I? Okay. Actually, this first of all, we should everybody should understand the skill and competency mapping or matrix is not for any kind of audit. It is for us. First of all, that mindset should be created first. Because I work in Godrej, where there is a very good practice. It is in Vikro Mumbai. A very good practice at the beginning of financial year, let us say in April, it starts. In first week itself, all the departments of particular plant comes in particular, let us say in conference. It's a thorough 8 hour session where complete brainstorming of each department has been done. Let us say I am from quality, brainstorming is done, and it is not only done based on the what is skill and competence is required. It is driven but completely by what orders we have, customer orders, what kind of orders we have, what criticality is required in that orders, and how much capacity we require. Based on that, first of all, we should understand what kind of skills required to meet this capacity and capability in next 1 year. That is from 1st April to 31st March. That first of all we should understand. Based on that, we should, as you shown map, let us say on y-axis there may be the skill and competence, and on x-axis there may be the manpower I have. Let us say 15 people I have, but I have, suppose I give the training on one skill and competency for, let us say 3-5 people I plan in next year, and I don't have that skill is required at all based on my business and orders, then there is no point of wasting that energy and resources and time on that. So important is that what business and projections you have in next year, what are the customers you have, and based on that, what is your actual situation and what is desired, and gap between that. For that, you have to identify trainings, and you have to make a training plan. You have to identify subject matter experts. Somewhere you need a on-job trainers also, not only the theoretical classroom training. And based on that, timelines has to be met, and then evaluation to be done. The biggest thing is that industry fails in the evaluation. The moment they use the training, okay, Deepak Yadav is 2, need 4, but whether after training, whether he is still 2, or whether he is reached to 3, or whether it is required 4, that evaluation to be done. And that evaluation should have done with evidence, and then skill matrix should be again revisited, and the level should be increased, let us say from 2 to 3 or maybe 4. If it is not increased, retraining should be arranged. That is how the cycle should be closed loop through 360 degree. Then it is beneficial. If we understand that it is a clause 7.2, 7.1.2 of ISO 9000 is calling that we require skill and competency metric to be prepared. There has to be a SOP, and just a meeting for the sake of convenience for audit. Then it is of no use for business, because ISO itself is telling that you have to meet a business and customer. Don't worry about us. It is ultimately a compliance only. So this is my view on this particular thing.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing, Deepak. And I'm sure your organization is extremely fortunate to have you in their team with such great attitude. Great, Deepak. Yeah, so Bandi, actually how Deepak and Tanushree both have shared it
Thanks
so well.
Deepak, for clarity.
Yeah, he really explained it very well. Yeah, so Bandi, I think two things, apart from what these guys shared, is one is that so when we do a competency mapping, it should not be done in isolation. Ki kar diya, employees ke liye kar diya. It should be linked to the organization goal. Only then it will become effective. So it is essential to link it with the organization goals, and then it gets driven by the senior management, in the organization. It has to have that kind of a value attached to it. It should not be done in isolation. And second is, like, I think how Deepak shared it needs to be reviewed frequently. So you are right, things get technical after a little while, and they are just a tick mark activity ho jate hain. Lekin once we kind of review it and we are clear that we are doing this competency mapping, it's not a forever kind of a thing कि कर दिया बस खत्म हो गया, इसको हमें देखना नहीं है, ये हमें tick mark करने हैं. No, it can change. So for example, today you have 3 levels. Maybe on everyone's opinion, you probably next year you may have 4 levels, you may have 5 levels, or you may come from 5 to 3 also. right? Or you may add more competencies to a particular role. As you know, like for example, now AI is coming up. So probably that could also be another kind of a skill set that is required, right? So everything is evolving, everything is changing. So it is essential that this competency mapping, whatever model or a matrix that you create in your organization, should be done only for a specific time period. Say from this appraisal to this appraisal, or for this financial year to next financial year, or whatever timeline you want to give it. It must be done within a timeline, and then it must be reviewed post that whether it is working fine, whether it is not working fine. And then how Deepak explained that once overall review is done, then you can go back to the employees and check that where have they been at the proficient level, and how to really fill that gap from wherever they are today and wherever they want to reach tomorrow, or you want them to get tomorrow. So fill that gap. So gap it becomes visible with a map in front of you. It becomes visible, right? Like say for example, we are going somewhere, we go to a new city or a new place and we are lost over there. But if we have a map in front of us, we will exactly know कि हम अभी कहाँ पे हैं और हमें कहाँ पे जाना है. That is why it is known as mapping. You actually map it. So you know where you are and you know where you need to reach, and where is the gap in between. How do you cover up that gap? What are the steps? So that becomes very doable then if we do it for a specific period of time. Is that okay, Bandi? Does that clarify?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you.
Great, fantastic.